Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Today we have the flowers lab, and I'm going to teach you what a flower is made of using this rose. This is a rose, and we have many fruits that belong to the rose family, including apples, pears, and stone fruits. All of these are roses. Even strawberry is a rose from the rose family. So what you can see here is a normal plant. This is the stem, these are the leaves. But also here is the flower, and this stem has a single flower. This is a terminal flower. That means it is on the top of the stem. There can also be apical flowers on the side here in certain fruit crops. So this is a flower that is made of, as you can see, the red part here is all, these are called petals. These are the petals of the flowers. So you can see these are all petals. The green ones are the sepals, and these, both of them, the sepals and the petals and the sepals, are all modified leaves. Actually these leaves, or actually these sepals, can even photosynthesize. They can do photosynthesis normal because they are modified leaves. This one is not. They don't have chlorophyll, and they come in different colors depending on the pigment or combination of pigments. It can be xanthophyll, it can be cyanide, it can be carotenoids, it can be different pigments. So different colors have different pigments of the plant, and this is always green. So this is the sepal, this is the petal. So this is the first two parts of the plant. There are two more parts. One is the male part and one is the female part. The male part is made of, if we remove all the petals, you can see the inside of the flower, and you can see here we have these filaments and anthers. So this is filaments and anthers. So if you pull out, you can see these are the anthers and these are the filaments. Inside of this also there is the stigma and the ovaries, and if you remove all the anthers and you expose the inside of this rose, these are all anthers and filaments, and I'm not sure if this is having any stigma or the female part is made of stigma, style, and ovary. So they should have these three structures, and they are different from the male, which is the anther and filament. That's anther and filament is this one. We call this stamen, and the female part we call it pistil or carpel. The pistil is made of ovary, which is similar structure to this one. So this is the ovary, and is connected by a style to the stigma, and the pollen will actually fall from the anthers to the stigma, and then from the stigma it will go down and pollinate these ovaries. And so these ovaries, which are here now, are actually going to be fertilized, and they will produce a fruit. And this happens in all fruits of this family. How do I know if this is a monocot or a dicot? There are different ways to tell that. As I told you before, you can count the number of sepals or petals or anthers and filaments. Of course, they are all many. So I'm going to count only the sepals: 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I know this is a dicot because there are only 5 sepals. All the sepals together is called calyx. All these petals together are called corolla. Another way to tell if they are monocot or dicot is, of course, from the leaves, and you can see the leaf is netted. That means they look like a network. They are not parallel. And the same thing goes for all the parts, including these petals. So this is definitely a dicot plant, telling from the number of flowers, which has 3, 4, or 5, which in this case 5. Combination of 5 or 4, multiplication 4, 5, 5, 4, or 8. So what I want you to do for this lab is to get a flower of a fruit crop. I'll show you some of the flower of date palm or mango or citrus, and then do the same thing. Identify where is the sepal, where is the petal, which are this one now, and where is the male part, which is made of stamen and an anther, or the female part, which is made of, which we call pistil, which is made of stigma, style, and ovary. Identify those and draw them in a sheet of paper, and for all kinds of fruit crops that you can have access to as much as you can. A mango, citrus, date palm, anything. All right, for this lab. And also please let me know if this is a complete flower or incomplete flower, perfect or imperfect. Of course, a perfect flower will always have male and female, like this one has a male and female. Complete will have male and female, which is stamen and pistil, as well as sepals and petals. So these are petals, sepals, male and female. This is a complete and perfect flower. Now, because I removed the petals, of course, there's only here sepals, male and female parts, so this is incomplete now because I removed something. In nature also this happens. In some flowers like date palm, they don't have sepals or they don't have petals or something like that. Then you identify if that flower is perfect or complete. Completeness and perfectness are two different things. Complete means it has sepals, petals, pistil, and stamen. A perfect flower will always have two, stamen and pistil. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Askuyu Botanic Garden. This is where we have all our plants, especially the ones native to Oman, as well as some of the crops like mango, like lime behind me here, and also the date palm. We're going through this. We're going to understand a little about the flowering, leaves, and also the plant structures that we have here, the diversity of the plants, and then so you get to know what is the diversity of different plants in this botanic garden. So let's get started. As you can see here, all these flowers will be pollinated, and then they will form multiple fruit. Well, this is the fig, and if you try to find a flower, you don't see a flower because you only see the fruits. As you can see here, they are tiny fruits. And then these fruits will grow to become big, like this size or this size. Okay, so where are the flowers? The flowers are actually inside of the fruit. As you can see here, they are all inside. And what happens is the wasp gets in from this hole here at the end, and it goes inside and pollinate all these flowers that are inside of the fig. Each of these is a flower with an ovary. So this is actually a multiple fruit. Here is another mature fruit of the fig, ready to be pollinated. So the insects will come from the end of the fruit and it goes inside to pollinate all these flowers. And you can see the stigma and the anthers as well as the ovaries are clearly seen in this fruit. Pomegranate flowers can be male or hermaphrodite, which is a perfect flower, male and female, or only male. So these flowers later on develop, that's an open flower, to become either a male that pollinates the female, or it sheds, or the female that later on produces the fruit, as you can see here. Here is a pollinated flower. As you can see, this is the stigma and the style, and the anthers are there, and the calyx, and of course this is already start to grow. If you open this flower, and I'll show you how it looks like from inside, with all the seeds already set there. The ovules develop to become arils and seeds, and of course the ovary will be the fruit. This is the inside of this female flower, and you can see the seeds that later on you will eat when the fruit is already large. Flowers of Indian almond is called catkins, and you can see here already catkins are developing, which are the male types, the male flowers, catkins. And we have another bud, you will have the female flower. So, but these are the male ones, and they are called catkins. This is a blooming catkin flower. There is some more of the male flowers. Since this is a female tree, they need to be pollinated, and these are the male pollen. They usually placed in the middle, as you can see here. This is where it is, and so you can see it here. This is the date palm male pollen is in the middle of this female flower. So this is basically the whole female spike, and each of these strands, they are called strands, are actually spikelets that carry numerous small flowers, and then later on these will become fruits. So this is basically the spikelet. This whole thing is a spike. This is a spikelet. As you can see here, a variety of female flowers in this spikelet that already been pollinated. This is the male pollen right here. It has pollinated manually the female spikelets. These will develop later to become fruits. This spadix that you can see is what carries the spikelets and the spikes that later on becomes the fruits of the date palm, which we call dates. That's the name of the fruits of the date palm. Citrus also produce flowers profusely, tremendous numbers of flowers you can see here, but not all of them will produce fruits. Here you can see that the ovary is superior, it is above all the other parts, and it is above the nectar disc, as you can see here in this tree. This is a citrus tree, of course. And it's also a sign because the top flower here is the one that's open. So we call this kind of inflorescence a cyme. And the below, these ones are not open yet. This is the opposite in mango, which is called raceme. So this is cyme, and you can see the top flower is actually open, the lower ones are not yet. So this is the flower of the mango, and this is called raceme. And the top part is the least mature, and the lower part here is where the flowering already started and the fruit starts. It's always like that. So this is how different the mango flowers from the citrus flowers. That's why this is called raceme, and that one is called cyme. This is a new bud, a new flowering bud, just started. Thousands of flowers produce fruits in mango, but not all of them will mature. Some of them are not fertilized, so they will be dropped. Others will drop as a result of fluctuation in heat or water. But each of these thousands of flowers will end up with 1 or 2 fruits in mango. There is a characteristic called biennial bearing in mangoes, where you see a lot of flowers in 1 year and less flowers in the second year. In Arabic it's called ma'awama, and you can see tons of mango flowers. And this is the tree actually, and that's why next year it cannot have the resources to grow more flowers and more fruits. Unlike date palm, pollination of mango is happening due to the insects. Actually, flies are the biggest pollinators of mango. Usually the female flowers, which are these ones, develop into fruits, and the male becomes here. Usually it's cut and consumed for cooking and so many things, but we keep the female stock. As you can see here, that makes up the fruits. This is a chiku tree. We used to see a lot in Baton area, not as many now, but you can see it's already flowering. It's also very nice. It's called sapodilla tree, chiku, and the fruits are here. Very nice and wonderful. It tastes good, mallow a little bit, but it tastes good. So you can also have this as another fruit crop that's usually cultivated. This is chiku, this is the fruit, and these are the flowers. And you can see some of these flowers already open, some are fertilized, some are not yet. So it can produce actually a long-term fruit crop. You can see because of the flowering, continuous flowering and fruiting habit of the Chico plant. There you go.